So myself and Geo, we're chatting this morning. I say chatting, it wasn't just like a leisurely chat on the phone. We were actually doing our player ratings video. And then we got to the player ratings video, and then I started talking about the strikers that we've been linked with. And I've been very impressed, as you know, if you're a regular watcher of the channel, I've been not just impressed with our recruitment, but impressed with the caliber of striker we've been targeting. I watched Manchester City against Liverpool. Nunes, although he looks a bit rusty, you'd expect that. He's had a bit of time out through suspension. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really, really good. Breuer, as you'll know, I think I rate him. I think he's going to have a really good career. I think he'll be a good striker. And then we get to the one that we did actually get in the end. So we bid for Nunes first, didn't get him. Bid for Breuer, didn't get him. So then we go and get Scamacca, our third choice striker, I think it's fair to say. Didn't know an awful lot about him. And when he first joined, I thought maybe his touch in and around the area was a little bit, I wouldn't call it rusty because I'd never seen anything more from him. I just thought, well, we've clearly got a goal scorer because his movement inside the box was good. You could see that from the early goals in European competition. But I thought when he dropped a bit deep, you could see what he was trying to do. But dare I say he looked a little bit clumsy or whatever. I've now seen the true Scamacca. Actually, his touch is assured. There'd been talk as well. So I'm going to let Geo speak in a minute, by the way. There'd been talk as well that his idol was Ibrahimovic. And aside from the stature, they're basically both mahoosive. I wasn't seeing a lot in it. But the longer it's got on, I'm seeing a bit of flair there. I am seeing some really nice touches, and I'm seeing an all-round game that's mouth-watering. We had so many chances, or so I say he's had so many chances in his last two games that he could feasibly have scored between 5 and 6, 7 goals maybe in his last couple of games. It hasn't happened, but as I always say, it's hard to get in there. I'm now starting to think that we've got a real striker on our hands. So I was discussing all of this earlier on with Geo, and then Geo turned around and he uttered the phrase. What phrase did you utter, Geo?
I said he's too good for us, Gonzo.
I think he might be too good for West Ham. Would you kindly explain yourself?
Well, I stand by you. I think we're going. It's obviously early impressions. There's still a lot to come from him. But I was a bit suspicious, if you like, when he was. PSG were wanting him, and he ended up with us. There is an element of me that goes, "How have we managed that?" Then, not quite Tevez Mascherano disbelief, but there was an element of surprise.
So you believed it?
What, that PSG wanted him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff come out from the PSG side of things which would back it up that we did want Scamacca. We didn't want to come to us. And, the Sassuolo president has told us basically West Ham came in, other clubs came in. But Scamacca said, no, I'm going to West Ham. They came in for me. I'm going there. And he was a man true to his word. But when he arrived, I thought, all right then, let's see if he really was good enough for PSG. The club that can buy anyone they want in the world. The club that managed to get Messi out of Barcelona. Let's see if they really wanted him. Well, actually, elements of his game you have to look at and think, you know what? I think they bloody did. Because the more I see of him, the more I think, yeah, if he does start scoring goals, 1, 2 a game, or every second game starts scoring and stuff and starts hitting the top of the goal scoring charts in the Premier League, it's only a matter of time before Champions League clubs, more lucrative clubs, start looking at him and going, right, we'll have him then, please, thank you. Because he is a goal scorer. He's really young, just 23 years of age as well. But his play is exceptional. It is absolutely exceptional. I enjoy watching him play as a striker. Whenever we get the ball in an attacking part of the game, I'm just thinking, just give it to Scamacca, because if he ain't shooting, he's going to just try and create for someone else to shoot as well. His build-up play is really good. His hold-up play is really good. The chances that he gets, he creates them himself. That's a very difficult thing to do. It's not like we're putting it in and we're giving him a really good opportunity to get away or goal. Most of his shots against Southampton, he generated that opportunity himself, whether it be from movement, whether it be from just bullying the defenders, whether it be from reading the play. Look at the long distance shot he had. That was nothing. He got it, works it past Ward-Prowse, has a dig. two snapshot shots in the 18 yarder.
Two Snapchats. I tell you what, he won't be going anywhere if he does that on a football pitch.
But the ball falls to him, hits it, blocked, hits it again, deflected over the bar. Bowen dinks it into the area, weaves in front of the defenders and hits it with his thigh. He realises, I can't get my head there, I can't get my foot there. I'll just throw something at it. And he thighs it. And it just goes over the bar. We've got players in our team that could have tried to kick that and not been able to get it as close to goal as what Scamacca did with his thigh. But most of his chances against Southampton came from his movement, his reading of the play. And I am blown away at how good he is, honestly. I expected to be blown away by Paqueta. I'm not yet. I think that will come. But with Scamacca, wow, he's just an incredible footballer, not just a striker, but as a footballer, he's incredible. That pass for Soufal early on in the second half, just the vision. He knew where Soufal was. We saw against Wolves, every time he got the ball, he knew where Jared Bowen was. The weight of his passes were fantastic. Bowen didn't have great stride, just run. You know it's coming. I've just seen a clip literally before we started recording this of Salah against Man City. Now, we all know how Salah scored the goal.
Yeah.
When he ran, Alisson booted it, he controlled it in an own goal. But there's a clip. It shows Salah running before Alisson's even caught the ball. Alisson's away to get it. Salah has seen Alisson away to catch it. He's running. He knows what's happening, which is when he gets it, he's going to find me. And you can do that with Scamacca. And before Scamacca gets it, get on your bike, because he's good enough to take one touch and hit it and find you as well. It's one thing seeing it. It's another thing pulling it off. And he can do both. Honestly, Gonzo, I'm blown away and I stand by it. I think early impressions, he's probably too good for us. But while he's here, I'm going to bloody well enjoy him. I
thought you were going to say for a moment, Big Ben Alisson got the ball and Salah did it. So I thought you were going to say, so when Fabianski gets the ball, he does scrack it like that. I just have a little, that's because that's how everyone smokes, you see, like that. He chills out and just waits, a good 10 minutes, but as Fabianski distribute the ball. Listen, Geo says all these words. He says these words, but he's not put his money where his mouth is, quite frankly, because Geo's been playing fantasy football on the Spitch app, which is the only place to play fantasy football. Well, it's not. It's just the best place to play fantasy football. Why? Because you can be crap on week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. It doesn't matter. All that's consigned to history. It's what you do now. You're only as good as your last game. And Geo is quite good on his last games. He won some money, put down a £1.70 stake, as I understand, Geo, won a bit of money back, and that was on the Premier League game. There's free to enter games, but if you think you're good and you want to back yourself, there are numerous competitions which can reap and yield up to £70,000 worth of prizes in the Spitch Fantasy Football game. This is Geo's team for the midweek game. And I only say that, put your money where your mouth is. There's no Scamacca in there. It is worth pointing out, by the way, that this is for the midweek round of Premier League fixtures. So if you want to get involved, you want to play the game like Geo's done and win yourself some money, or if you just want to play against myself and Geo in the Hammers Chat Mini League, click the link below. You've got to be 18 years and above because there is a gambling element to the app. Back yourselves and see if you can beat us too. See if you can win yourselves a little bit of that. By the way, I also had a little win, but I don't like to talk about it, do I, Geo?
No, it wasn't the biggest win, but it was a win.
It was. Everyone's a winner, baby, as they say. So here's the thing with Scamacca. I hadn't even given it any thought. I think sometimes you build yourself up so much when you've got a player like Declan Rice as well. And so we had this whole thing with Declan so good, and we had to prove to Declan that he could fulfill his ambitions with West Ham. We've just been through this cycle. You now know where I'm going with this, right? And it didn't happen, and we all now assume Declan's off at the end of the season. He won't sign a new deal. Apparently, there's a gentleman's agreement. He goes. We now look as if we might have another situation brewing. And this is almost, I think, more pronounced than the Declan one. Because with Declan, it's almost like, yeah, okay, it doesn't really matter whether it's a defender or just generally build a better team around Declan. I think it's a lot more concentrated with Scamacca, and that is give me a supply. And when you're looking at it and you're looking at it's all very well, and a lot of what you described is Scamacca supplying other people. Well, Scamacca needs to supply into him because, as you say, at the moment, there's a lot of it being created by himself. There's certain people in the team who are starting to adjust to him. I would say Scamacca and Cresswell are adjusting to him. But I do believe that there's a bit of a problem brewing in other areas of the team. And I think I hadn't even considered it, Gio, about Scamacca leaving. I've got to be honest with you. You got me worried now. And I know you're not saying it's going to happen immediately, but you honestly think he's going to be that alluring to other teams? You mentioned something about Mbappe as well when we spoke earlier.
Yeah, I was just throwing out there hypothetically that if Mbappe's kicking off again at PSG, and if he does get his move to Real Madrid or Chelsea, we know that Bowley wants a big ticket signing at Stamford Bridge, and he's not afraid to flash the cash. But if Mbappe does go somewhere, it's going to be for a substantial amount of money, record-breaking money. Not that PSG need it, but they'll have an influx of cash and need to replace the attacker at PSG. So why would they not go for the guy they're already looking at that's come to the Premier League and is doing it in the Premier League kind of thing? I'm not worried about him leaving or anything. It's just one of them things. When you watch him, you get it now and again, don't you? You had it with Dimitri Payet. When you watch Payet play for West Ham, you have that little thing of, he's too good for us, but I'm bloody well going to enjoy him, because why wouldn't you? That's what you want as a fan. You want to enjoy seeing certain players play football, and I enjoy seeing Scamacca play football. Do I think he will leave? Well, if he fulfills his potential, probably. But I would expect Moyes and Newman knew this before they bought him, because they're signing a striker that they see as being sort of like Italy's undisputed number 9 for the future, and a guy that's capable of winning titles and scoring goals in the Champions League and stuff. Either A, they're expecting that there will be interest in future, or B, that we're going to get there. Now, I think we'll probably do our best to get there, but whether we're good enough or not, I'm going to say, well, at the minute, no, unless something remarkable happens. And Jurgen Klopp sometimes can speak a bit of nonsense, but sometimes you can talk a great lot of sense. And he was saying about Newcastle's ceiling being uncapped goal. You can do what you want, Newcastle United, but he's saying other clubs have a ceiling. There's only so far they can go until they come up against the monopoly of football, the money boy, the big bucks at the top of the league. And can you get into that? And he's saying Newcastle can. And I don't disagree with him. I think there's only, unless something changes with us, there's only so far we can probably go. And unlike Newcastle, where you get the sense that the foundations are pretty solid, with ourselves, it might work this season. We'll have another couple of years where we're flirting with European football or that. But unless things drastically change, you get the impression that in 5 years' time from here, we'd probably be back in the bottom half of the Premier League or something. Things like that to football clubs. You have to look at Leicester as a prime example of how far you can fall pretty quickly. Then a relegation battle. Last season, they were sort of top 10 when the FA Cup this season before. Everything was good. Football's so short-term now. But what I will say, if Moyes and Newman had sort of said, let's get Scamacca playing, we'll get the goals, it might be he gets pushed. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have an issue. That's the type of player we should be buying. Somebody that comes in is that good that the big clubs do want him, that you can say, well, there you go, 100 million then. That's what it's going to cost. He's scoring goals in the Premier League. Bring your checkbook. We've stayed firm with Declan Rice, and we've held off any interest. Now, I don't think there's been any bids for Declan Rice, so that makes it easier to hold on to Declan Rice. When there's no one bidding for a player, it's easy to hold on to them, right? Simple as that. But we've managed to keep him. We've kept the Wolves at the door for now with Declan Rice. So the club has demonstrated that they are prepared to play hardball when it comes to selling our players. Sometimes I think they play hardball a little bit too much with Marko Ivanovic, Dimitri Payet, where it turns a little bit sour and you have to sell them for a cut price in the end. With Scamacca, fine. If he's going to go, he's going to go for big bucks. If he goes for big bucks, it means he's been flipping wonderful for us. And hopefully we've utilised that to achieve great things while he's here. And then it's a case of one step back and hopefully 2 steps forward. But yeah, when I watch Scamacca, Gonzo, there is an element on me thinks, like, this guy's like ridiculously good.
Just quickly, because actually it only came to me when you were speaking. Then you talk about Newcastle. I think the thing is with Newcastle is as well, it's not just a ceiling. I think they can fend off Real Madrid. They can fend off PSG bidding for Isak, whatever his name is. They can fend that off, right? I don't think we're in the same position to do that. But whilst I was thinking that, I did think to myself, because Gio liked him. So I will ask you. I'll ask you now. Who do you prefer? what's his name at Newcastle? Isaac, whatever his name is.
Isaac, yeah. Boys. Yeah.
I wasn't planning on it. And it's like I laid a trap. He was thinking he's laid a trap. He asked me to upload a video. He's laid this. I haven't. I just made it up right then.
People won't understand the context of this, though, that are new to the channel. They think, what's this a big deal for? You've stitched me up a bit. I prefer Scamacca.
Oh, exchange.
Honestly, Gonzo, I'm in love.
No, I like it. I don't mind, mate. I don't mind.
I am in love with the way Scamacca plays football. I just think his movement is sensational. That's why I still go back to it. When we played FCSB at home and he missed those few chances in the first half, and people like yourself said he was poor. I thought, hang on, no, there's no playing poorly. Look at what he's doing. We've been screaming out for somebody to do that for years. You know, Mikel Antonio has his good games and stuff, but actually, I almost convinced myself in the last couple of years Antonio's a Premier League striker. But now I've seen Scamacca, I'm thinking Antonio's not a Premier League striker. He's a Premier League forward.
Yeah,
but I'm seeing the big difference between a striker and somebody that can play striker, if that makes sense. A striker, and a striker. You can see the difference with Scamacca. You know, 50 strikers, David Golden, David Sullivan are signed more than 50. It's almost worth the wait.
I like it. It's a preposterous bloody statistic. It is, but you know what? If you throw enough crap at the wall, some of it will stick, certainly. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, you didn't hear it at first at all, but we like him. And we make no apologies for talking about him lots. And I'll just leave you with his final thought. If you're ever clicking on Hammers chatting, oh my God, these fellas are talking about Scamacca again, just remember it could be worse because we could be talking about Lingard again.